Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. If you'd like to see an annotated transcript and some listening practice quiz questions for this episode and all of the other episodes, then click the first link in the description and that will take you straight to the post where you can join Tea Break English Club as a free member and get access to all of the podcast extras. Enjoy the episode.
What's this going to be? 19? Ooh, 19. Wow.
Is it 19?
Yeah. Nice.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tea Break English Club's podcast. This is, I think, episode 19. So I'm, as always, joined by Finn.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. I think episode 20 is just a very big number, isn't it? Which we're going to record in a second, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in one of the first episodes as well that there's some statistic about most podcasts not making it to episode 20 or something like that. So we're going to be in the top percentile.
Yeah, it's a bit of a milestone, I guess.
Yeah, and we've got 40 subscribers right now at the time.
Oh my gosh,
it's pretty good, isn't it? That's like 2 subscribers per episode.
Might get 40 views if we're lucky.
Yeah, I think we have got more than 40 views on one of our videos. We've got a couple with 30 plus.
Watch out, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, right. I think that's enough maths. I always start talking about maths at the start of every episode, don't I? I need to stop that.
So we should talk about our past week, I guess, because we haven't spoken in a little while on here. So in the past week, I've been on holiday, I guess, on a little vacation, I would say, if I was from the US. I've had Carnival, and then after Carnival, I decided to go to Rio with my friend who is visiting, and we went and spent the weekend in Rio. And on the very first day, like a typical Brit, I got completely sunburnt on the beach. My legs completely red, and I had to spend the night in, and I've been wearing trousers ever since.
Oh, did you even put any sun cream on?
Not my legs. I put it everywhere else, but usually I don't have to put it on my legs. But huge mistake. My legs and my feet are completely like a prawn, like they're completely pink. So it's very painful and not very fun.
How hot was it?
I don't know. I mean, it's always really hot here, so I never even check. It's always just like, I don't know, 35, 36. Very hot. But if you're sat there on the beach and you've got like I don't even know what it's called, the like thing that protects you from the sun.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like an umbrella, just a big umbrella.
Yeah, we'll call it an umbrella. I was under a big umbrella. Parasol?
Yes. Do we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely not English, is it? But is that what we use?
I think we say that sometimes. Anyway, for the sun. But we sat under this umbrella, and you've got the beach, you've got the sea, which is cold, and you can it's enough to keep like going and refreshing yourself a little bit. But the thing in Brazil is the sun is so high compared to the UK. You see the sun kind of comes up on the side, and it kind of, I don't know, it seems to just kind of like curve around the horizon a little bit before going back down. And in Brazil, it's just right above you all the time. So you have to move the parasol, the umbrella, every 5 seconds. And if you lose concentration, you just get burned. So
yeah, the sun in the UK is just it's just like a pathetic flop at trying to be the sun.
Yeah, it's not very good at its job. It's not very good at its job at all. It's like a lamp that doesn't really work.
Yeah, well, I mean, the accident or incident rate of sunburn is quite low. But saying that, when it does come out in summer and we do have a week of hot sunny weather, then everybody's just caught off guard, I guess. So I imagine the sunburn rate escalates quite highly.
Yeah, well, I was trying to explain to my friends, and obviously it's not that funny, but they found it quite funny that the difference for us in terms of heat and kind of our perception of what's hot and what's not. Honestly, like I was trying to explain to them, when it's 22 degrees in England or 25 maybe, and they say it's a heat wave on the news and there's heat warnings everywhere, and there's always like someone who dies. Like, you know, you turn on the news in summer and it's been hot for a week, and there's always like 1 or 2 people who've died from heat stroke, and it's probably 25 degrees.
Yeah, well, you get the different colored warnings, like the code, I guess they're code warnings for, well, with storms is probably the most recent example. You get amber warnings and red warnings, red alerts for, I guess, extreme weather.
Yeah,
I think you definitely get some extreme weather alerts when the temperature's still in the 20s.
no, I know, it's crazy. The difference between the extreme weather alerts in the UK and here are crazy. Like in the UK, there'll be a storm and it'll be, fair enough, it'll be a bit windy and a bit rainy, but nothing insane. And there'll be like a red weather alert or an amber alert. And here in Brazil, it comes through on your phone, like from the military police, like a weather warning. And you think, okay. And then the next thing you know, the whole tube, like the whole metro, is just a river and it's flooded. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty nuts. I mean, to be fair, in the UK, we do have pretty bad wind. The wind with the storms is real bad, but the flooding, we do have flooding as well really badly, and it is a problem, but it's not like cities getting flooded like it is, well, like what you just described. It's kind of just rivers overflowing and fields overflooding.
As a surfer, I was watching a video yesterday about there was this basically like what's it called, like a typhoon. There's a big storm in Australia, and all of the surfers went straight to it. People called in sick to fly across the country to go and surf in this storm, in this like extreme weather. And I was wondering, as a surfer, have you ever been out in some crazy weather?
Yeah. So like storm chasing, I think it was Storm Alfred in Australia. I've seen that a lot on social media as well. But yeah, I've never really storm chased or chased storms. But a lot of big wave surfers, what they do is they just sit and wait and look at all of the forecasts and the storm reports. When they see a storm going towards a certain area, a certain country, then they just last minute book some flights, and they call it like a strike mission. So they'll just mission to one of these big wave locations, big wave spots, and try and kind of score a huge swell, a huge freak swell that only happens when there's a big storm.
Is that not extremely dangerous? I mean, surfing's like, I think it's pretty scary anyway, but is that not extremely dangerous?
Yeah, it's definitely not safe, but my level's a long way off strike missions for big wave surfing. So
yeah.
There's a guy called Nathan Florence who is kind of, I'd say he's probably one of the most well-liked people in the whole surfing world, surfing community. His brother's I think like three-time world champion competitive surfer now. And Nathan Florence did do some big wave surfing competitions, but he basically just got on the YouTube scenes pretty early on, like the vlogging scenes and stuff. And he basically just films free surfing, and in the winter as well, he spends that kind of chasing storms. So he did a pretty big trip recently where they kind of set up base in Portugal, and then they were flying around Europe chasing these storms, chasing these swells. So he was in Scotland for a bit actually, for quite a while. And there's a place in Ireland called Mullaghmore. I think
I've heard of that.
Is it Mullaghmore? Yeah, Mullaghmore, and yeah, that's a pretty infamous big wave spot.
That's crazy. I mean, you say it's not your level, but you've done a few international surfing trips, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been surfing in some other countries like Indonesia, Bali, Sumatra, and did some surfing last time I was in Brazil. I mean, some of my mates are way better than me, and they've done a lot of other big trips. I've got a mate in Western Australia right now. He's loving it out there.
And he's just surfing all the time. Is he working?
Yeah, he's lifeguarding.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, literally just classic. One of my mates as well, he's insane. He's a bit younger than us, but yeah, he's really nuts. And he was in Sumatra just being like a surf guide. So all of the gringos that come to Sumatra, I guess mostly Australians probably. And yeah, they just stay at these surf camps. And my mate Sammy was just like one of these surf guides, showing them around to the different spots and looking at the forecast and choosing where would be best and kind of taking them to those spots, to those locations.
That's mad. I mean, if you're a surfer, that's a hell of a job. Like, that's kind of pretty perfect for you, really.
Yeah, it definitely is. Other than being a sponsored surfer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, surfing came up before because Finn was asking me about, before we started recording, about my weekend in Rio. And I was telling him about, I said it was great. And then on Sunday, I took a bus home, which was about 6 hours. Very nice, very chilled. And I took a bus back. But to get to the bus station, there was like loads of traffic on the street in Rio. And I just didn't want the stress of, I hate being stuck in an Uber that's not moving, stuck in a taxi, and you've got somewhere to be. And with the taxi, you can see, on the meter, like how long is left of the journey and when you're going to arrive. And when it keeps going back, it makes me so stressed. So I thought, I'm going to get a motorbike instead. And I had like a 2-liter bottle of water in my hands and my backpack on. So I wasn't very balanced, and I only had kind of one hand, barely one hand, and the other hand I was holding this big bottle of water. So I took this motorbike through Rio, and usually I don't mind them. I think they're quite fun, but there is a certain element of, oh my God, I'm going to die. But this one, because I only had one hand, and I made the classic mistake of telling the driver that I was in a rush. And if you say that, they just drive like crazy. And it was awful. And so we're weaving through the traffic in Rio, in between huge buses, in between lorries, going through tunnels on the highways. When he takes a corner, really leaning over like that. And it was honestly terrifying. And there was quite a few moments where a car would pull back in and he's had to dodge it. But I was thinking, okay, I wonder how much it's going to hurt when we hit the floor type thing. It was really scary. And when I got to the bus station, my legs were shaking. I took off the helmet and my hair was soaking like I'd been in a shower because I'd sweated so much. And it took about half an hour for my legs to finally stop shaking.
To calm down a bit, for the adrenaline to leave your body. I presume you mean one of the big traveling sort of bags.
Yeah, it was a proper bag. So it was weighing me backwards. and because I only had one hand for balance, I was very, very, very unbalanced. So it was quite stressful. Sometimes the bikes have the box on the back, for like holding their things, and they're great because you can just lean back on it and feel safe. But sometimes you feel like you're just going to slide off the back, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, especially if you've only got one hand as well, because if you've got the big bag but two hands to kind of clamp yourself down, then it's not as bad, but
yeah,
they're pretty scary.
But the whole time I was trying to remind myself that I'd had much worse or much scarier motorbike experiences in Colombia, because there it was my main mode of transport to get around. I used to take it to work every day in the school I worked in, and there was no helmets, and there wasn't even properly tarmac roads. It was all dirt roads. And I got very used to it there, but it's been quite a long time since I've been on one. So I was trying to tell myself, relax, you're a professional, but it was quite scary. And I remember as well you telling me about something that happened in Indonesia on a motorbike with one of your friends.
Yeah, well, actually, two of my mates have had pretty nasty ped crashes. So I'm guessing ped, just short for moped. I don't know. Yeah. I always just say ped.
Yeah, short for moped or scooter.
Yeah. So the first one was when I was there before COVID. So I think early 2020. We were all just we had all rented our own, and we weren't together. We were kind of all staggered and just driving to a different beach to go surfing. And I don't think we had helmets, which is pretty bad. And we were going surfing, so we were just board shorts. I don't think my mate even had a t-shirt on.
Oh no.
Might have had flip-flops. I don't know, but yeah, not ideal. And he was overtaking a lorry or a truck or whatever, and someone was coming the other way on a ped. And I mean, that happens loads. Like, there is enough room for two people to go past, but I mean, I wasn't with him. I think he was on his own. I was behind by like a minute or something with one of my other mates. And yeah, I don't really know what happened, but somehow there was a crash, and he ended up, I think it was just a real awful ride to the hospital, basically. So he went to the hospital a bit later on, like a smaller, newer one that didn't feel very professional. But yeah, he ended up going to, I forget what the main city was that was nearby, but it's like it's like a 6-hour drive through the jungle on proper paved roads and everything, but it's not exactly like a straight way. And the guy, talk about feeling safe with the kind of Uber drivers, taxi drivers. The guy had literally been just so our mate that we knew through a mutual friend that was kind of sorting us out, showing us around and giving us a place to stay, and we spent a lot of time with him. He just called this guy who had been drinking and was like, you need to do this drive. So I think it was a long mission for my mate, his girlfriend, and our other mate. And he got Bell's palsy, which is basically just when half of your face just stops working. So I mean, it's bad. It's really bad, but it was hilarious because he'd say he'd smile, but half his face would just be like, and the other half would be like,
oh god, he's got that forever.
No. It was like just, I don't know how long, maybe a week or something. Definitely not ideal. But he said that I know that he went surfing earlier than he should have, or sooner than he should have. And he said that when he would duck dive, so push the board under the water to go underneath a wave. Because it's a beach break, there's just a lot of sand in the water anyway. And because when he'd close his eyes, only one eye would close properly. He was just getting loads of sand just in his eyes and in his mouth.
Oh man! And so it was a head-on, like one moped into the other one.
I think so. Or I mean, he had his surfboard on the side, and I don't know exactly how it happened, but
he's lucky that he didn't. He's lucky he didn't go underneath the lorry.
Yeah. I don't really. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it, so I have no idea what happened. But that was quite a while ago now. But more recently, another one of my mates had a similar sort of crash where it was kind of head on with another moped, but I think his hand got caught in between or something. And long story short, he ended up coming home, and there was a doctor that said that his hand, from the x-ray, the bones in his hand looked like gravel, which really isn't ideal, especially if that's coming from a doctor.
An actual medical professional says your hand looks like lots of little stones.
Yeah, but he's the same one that fell off the rocks or like the cliff when we were lifeguarding. There were 3 of us on the beach that day, and he had to check round another beach that was getting cut off by the tide. And I don't really know what happened. I think he went a bit of a different route to normal and fell and broke his back and was unconscious for a bit, and that was pretty hectic as well. So I think he's pretty injury prone, that guy.
The same guy?
Yeah, same guy.
And he didn't get paralyzed, he can still walk?
No, I think he's fine from that. That was before the moped in Indo, so I'm guessing, I think he was completely fine. I think he went to go and do a lifeguarding season in New Zealand, and then from there they went to Indonesia.
This guy doesn't quit, I guess.
No, well, I guess if he was a cat with 9 lives, he's running out.
Yeah. So did he have to get airlifted out of the hole?
No, so that wasn't the guy that fell down the blowhole. This guy just fell
off the cliff
from the rocks. So he was kind of going up the cliff on the rocks and just fell down. But
that's scary, man.
Yeah. So the other guy that we were lifeguarding with had to go and walk him back.
Yeah.
And the tide's coming in, so just it's not really ideal when there's 3 of you on a beach and then 2 of you are out of action.
Yeah, especially when you're the ones who are meant to be looking after everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was pretty hectic.
Yeah, so that's okay. You've got a lot more crazy near-death stories than I have, I think. I think the scariest I've done is on a motorbike. Nearly fell off a cliff in Scotland once, but I didn't. So it's not as cool of a story as like, oh yeah, I broke my back or something. But yeah, I mean, you've pretty much knocked me out of the park there with your near-death stories, to be honest.
I mean, it's not me. It's just my mate. I think I'm probably a lot more, what's the word, risk adverse? I don't know.
Yeah, a bit more cautious.
A bit, especially compared to my mate. I think I've seen my mates do some stupid stuff, so I'm just not doing that.
Yeah, fair. Well, maybe for next week, in time for next week's podcast, you should go and do something very dangerous and stupid, and you can have a story for us.
Yeah, I'll go rock climbing and no protection.
Exactly. Go rock climbing, stick a fork in a toaster, do all of that stuff.
Go buy a moped.
That's probably step 1 of getting yourself killed. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. And then we'll see if we actually do make it past episode 20.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's quite a good cliffhanger.
Yeah. Well, literally a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll leave it there for now then, I think. And we'll see you all Well, this week, I guess. Now we're doing 2 in a week. So we'll see you on episode 20.
Yep. See you on Thursday.
Brilliant. All right. Bye, everyone.
Ciao.